Yeah, the next item on communications is the request by Mr. Paul Ruby and I believe Justin Bell to speak to the HRA. And if you have any...
All right, well, thanks for having us here today. My name is Justin Bell. I'm the Legal and Policy Director and a staff attorney for All Parks Alliance for Change. We're a statewide organization that advocates for the rights of residents of manufactured home parks. Paul asked me to come today and talk about a couple of potential solutions to the rent increase issue that they're having in Rolling Hills. And first, I just wanted to hit a couple of real quick points. The last couple of times that we've talked to people, representatives from the city of Maplewood, nobody seems to be able to answer questions about affordable housing goals and affordable housing quotas. And the last time that we talked to someone, we were told that Maplewood clearly meets all of their affordable housing needs and affordable housing quotas. So I had our GIS intern drop a map of the most recent Metropolitan Council studies, as well as the Center for Urban and Regional Affairs. And they map out the Twin Cities area. Here we are in Maplewood here with our two parks. And the current data from the Met Council showing the affordable housing need from 2011 to 2020 shows that as of right now, Maplewood needs an additional 144 to 492 units of affordable housing. And the reason I bring that up is because we have, like Paul said, we have a natural system of unsubsidized affordable housing in manufactured home parks, so long as it stays affordable. And as rent increases keep jumping up, and pretty soon rent is doubled from the time someone moved in, this is an affordable housing source that's getting hit and that's being threatened throughout the metro area. But the other piece of information I wanted to hit before I talk about solutions, we're not talking about everybody's rent increase. Nobody likes when their bills go up. I don't like when my bills go up. You don't like when your bills go up. That's not at all what we're talking about. And if we look at this small list here of area parks, you can tell that 2 or 3 shoot to the top of these giant rent increases, and Rolling Hills is one of them. This one? Okay. So you can see Rolling Hills shooting way up to the top of the total rent increase, and then just the total rent, lot rent paid, and as well as these rent increases that have been marginally, I mean not marginally, substantially higher than all the rest of the rent increases in the area. We're not walking around to different cities and we're not talking to every single city council about lot rent and lot rent shouldn't be increased and we want rent control. We're looking at the specific areas in which it's out of control. And I think just by looking at this chart, which I think you were all provided in advance with, you can see how Rolling Hills shoots to the top of that. So what can you do as a city? We have a couple of ideas that we've put forward in the materials that we gave you. The two most obvious solutions are Minnesota Statute 327C classifies rent increases as rule modifications of an existing lease. And so all rent increases have to be reasonable. The statute allows for reasonable rent increases up to 2 times a year if they're given with proper notice. There's no definition for reasonable. There's case law saying that a 100% rent increase is unreasonable on its face. I'm involved in a 2-year-long lawsuit that still isn't resolved yet over reasonable rent increases. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees already lacked up, and we haven't gone to court yet. So the idea is, how do we define reasonable? And one possible solution is to have the actual communities and the cities define that themselves based on community values and community standards. Maplewood could adopt a local ordinance version of 327C and define the terms how it saw fit. A possible definition should base on factors like the consumer price index, inflation, cost of living analysis, and still allow for a reasonable return of investment on any sort of property owner. That option would allow the community to define the community living standards for itself. If you go in front of a judge, if a judge can define what reasonable is for the value of a community, certainly the community should be able to do that itself. Another option that other towns across the country have used is rent justification boards. Rent justification is not rent control in that there's no cap on how high rent can go, but there's a number at which it triggers a public dialogue. So the community would decide some sort of formula at which if rent increases go above a certain amount, there's a board set by the city council, much like this board, that would hear the explanation why. And if a property owner wanted to, he could certainly show up at the public hearing and just say, I want more money. I'm greedy and I want to buy 2 Porsches. And that could be completely acceptable. But it opens a public dialogue. And what cities like Berkeley, California and Westbrook, Maine have seen is just having those people accountable to the community in which they serve tends to keep these things in check. So I'm sure that there are plenty of other ways that we could try to address unreasonable rent increases. I hope that just by the materials you can kind of see that we're not talking about all rent increases. We're talking about substantial increases that are far above other parks in the area. Yeah, I guess that's about all we have to say for tonight. Thank you for your time, and we can certainly stick around and answer any questions.
I would ask, have you had this meeting yet with, Lakeville, in Rhra Heights?
You're talking about the other ones that shoot up to the top of the list there?
I'm looking at those that are even higher, considerably higher, and I'm wondering if as a group, APAC, have you had this meeting in these communities?
Some of those meetings in some of those communities, in Rhra Heights, for example, ended in a lawsuit. Some of the other communities, when you look at some of the rents that are higher, you also have to look at the amenities. There are parks in the area and in the metro that have swimming pools and basketball courts and clubhouses, and again, all that stuff makes sense. If you have a swimming pool and a clubhouse and a giant playground and basketball courts, you can expect to pay a little bit more. So the chart also lays out general utilities, and Paul has a more detailed chart that actually lays out amenities as well. So all that's been taken into account as we approach different cities and municipalities about addressing the issue.
Have you researched what Ramsey County has done with the tax rate for the class in the last 5 years?
No.
Beth, would you like to share what you found out?
Well, just for my own purposes, I did check to see what Ramsey County has done with the property values over in Rolling Hills. There's 3 parcels that make up Rolling Hills Mobile Home Park. Their property taxes themselves have gone up more than 100% since 2005. They have jumped a total of $107,500, which is
how does that compare to some of the other parks in the metro area?
I didn't look for, because I don't have parcel numbers and whatnot for all the parks, and I just for my own personal information, because I knew I was coming here tonight to listen to this, and I know my own home taxes, my value's gone up and my taxes have gone up, and it's made a substantial increase in my mortgage payments every month. So